Welcome to Kraken of the Week, episode 20. This week we have a game from EvilDrFozzaTron driving the legendary Destroyer Kléber. It's going to be a game of domination on Land of Fire. And I gotta say, this ship, it might be the new Kraken printer in the fleets. You can see here, Fozzatron started on the south side of the map, just south of the sea cap, went in, got the capture point, and got radared there at the end, but not before he was able to finish off the capture point. And now we get to see what the Kléber does best, which is hunting enemy ships. Before we get too far, let's take a look at his commander setup. Using Felipe Abueno, and this seems to be the go-to commander for most people. With the perks, you're going with Subsurface Venture, Look at Me Now, Torpedo Safari, Destroy or Be Destroyed, Give Me Speed, with inspirations of Bay and Sims. Now you see, instead of going with Fragile Threat, he went with Look at Me Now, which gives him an extra 10% of health points. And then instead of going with Swirsky as a secondary inspiration, goes with Sims to get some more health. So got a high number of health points, 24,940 total. And that is going to be a huge benefit. We're going to see in this game how big of a difference that makes. So you see he's being real smart here, trying to pay attention where the radar cruiser is, staying out of their detection range and at least keeping some distance. The Chappie has 11.7 kilometer radar, so you need to make sure you stay at least decently away from them. But since that the Chappie did use their radar a little bit earlier, we know that it's going to be another minute or two before they have another charge ready to go. Taking a look at the mini-map in the top left, looking at the deployment of the blue team. Decently pushed up on A and B. Unfortunately, the A group just completely ignored the cap. B is fortunately tying up the cap and doing a good job of preventing the enemy team from getting it. But right here, Fozzatron gets spotted. You see that smoke cloud spot pop up, and we have the Kagro, and this is a sticky situation to be in. One thing that the Kléber does not have is a smoke screen, so there's no easy way to hide once the guns are opened up. You either have to get behind an island or allow your guns to go quiet long enough to go undetected. But right here, using the island craftily, keeping it between them and the Chappie in order to finish off the Kagro, and that's kill number 1. See right there, a lot of ships went down across the map. Enemy team lost 1, friendly team lost 2, but right now, hurting. We're down to only 1,500 hit points, and at this point, we gotta really decide how we're gonna carry this on, because it's gonna be extremely important to be careful to protect those hit points, to make sure that you're in the game as long as possible. At this point, with only 1 destroyer on each team, destroyers are going to be at a premium and the most important ship on the map, especially considering how many battleships are left. So he does a great job getting torpedoes in the water to the GK. One thing that this ship has is absolutely amazing torp angles, so you're able to get those sets off in a hurry. Get one set off, ship thinks they're great, but then that second set from the other side comes over, and right there the GK eats 3 from the second side, gets flooding again, and that is pretty well going to end it for the GK, because they're just going to get stuck flooding there all the way to the end of their health pool. So at this point, doing a good job of reassessing and using the island right here as cover once again, not having to worry about getting spotted. Just to add a little insult to injury, gets a fire started, and right there, kill number 2, down goes the GK, and that's a lot of firepower off the board. Looking at the map where the rest of the enemy team is right now, we see that most of them are centrally located. And this is one thing that the Kléber will absolutely thrive at doing, is getting back into position in a hurry, thanks to the ridiculous fast speeds that you can reach. So right there, we do see the enemy destroyer pop up, the Khabarovsk. Fortunately, the blue team is in the process of capturing A. If nothing else, it's at least preventing the red team from getting any points from it. So right now the teams are accumulating the same amount of points per minute. And right here, this is a battleship's worst nightmare. A one-on-one with the Kléber. If the Kléber driver is smart like EvilDrFozzaTron is, what you'll see is you'll see a bunch of these big wide turns in order to get both sides of torpedoes off, and you'll be able to get all 4 sets off at the target, and then you'll be able to swing back around, and by the time you swing around, the first side that you launched will almost be ready to be launched once again. So looking at those torpedoes, they're tracking amazingly well. You see the Massachusetts begin to react. They're probably spotting them, and the battleships just do not have the maneuverability to get past these in a hurry. So eating 1 torpedo there, but right now there's not a lot of threats. We see the 1 destroyer, and I think one of the best counters to the Kléber, the Khabarovsk, is way over in the central part of the map trying to protect B and keep the blue team from advancing. Meanwhile, the other 3 red team players are all in full retreat mode. For those of you that have the Kléber, you'll know this is one of the most fun situations to be in when you're just out hunting in open water. This ship is truly devastating. You'll see once the engine boost is popped, you can get well over 55 knots of speed. If you use the right inspirations, you can get it over 60 knots with the engine boost active, which is faster than some torpedoes that you'll see. But right here, 3 ships just out on their own. This is a perfect engagement. If I'm on the red team at this point, and I'm driving the Khabarovsk, I need to be hunting this Kléber. I need to find them, get them off the board. Right now, they're the biggest threat to the rest of my teammates, and removing that threat would actually swing the tides quite a bit and give the red team a much better chance at winning. So look at it right there. You saw a 55-second reload time on the torpedoes, and these are fast torpedoes in the water, pretty high damage, and it's just allowing you to kind of get this flooding spam going. If you wanted to, basically you're launching 6 torpedoes every 27 seconds in this thing if you're able to maneuver it just perfectly. And it's going to be a big problem moving forward. One thing also with the update, getting the perceptive perk, so we're able to get twist and track on this boat. Now, I will say you do have to give up some torpedo range in order to do that, so it takes the slot of where Torpedo Safari would be, so that's a little rough. But right here we see that Khabarovsk, they're doing work getting the dev strike on the Reichslu, and fortunately we see that smoke screen right now, so we know where they're sitting at, and Fozzatron making an absolute beeline. In the meantime, things are getting very dicey. All of a sudden we're at a equal ship number, and now it's about which team's going to be able to take out the other's destroyer first. That's going to be the team that wins. Right here, Khabarovsk getting spotted in the smoke. Not sure if that's a friendly radar or sonar, but it's going to be absolutely deadly, and those torpedoes that went in there do the job. If ever you see a destroyer sitting in a smoke screen, make sure to shoot those torpedoes in there, and sometimes you'll get that and nice surprise at the kill. So kill number 3, 119,000 in damage so far, and now it is absolutely open season for Fozzatron. 2 battleships and a cruiser, the cruiser being a Siegfried, so almost a miniature battleship. Things are going to be a lot of fun through the ending here. Let's take a look at the speed indicator now. We see the engine boost is active. We got about another minute and a half left on that. And there we are, just past 56 knots. And it's just absolutely nuts having a ship that can cover this much ground in such a short amount of time. Just a hair under 57 knots in the water. And it's just going to allow this ship to get into positions that the enemy is not expecting in a hurry. So right back there, Fozzatron was not spotted, but since the enemy saw that the Cabrosk was killed by Fozzatron, they have a pretty good idea that he's probably back up to the north. Now, depending on what their perception is, they may not be expecting him to be down in the south already and able to put these torpedoes in the water. And that element of surprise is what's going to allow this ship to be truly devastating. As you can see here, the blue team getting in on the action, really just beating up on these ships. And if you find yourself in this position as a red team player, you probably made some mistakes earlier. Probably should have pushed up when you retreated. This retreat method is never going to result in a win. You might think that going back like this and kiting away is the way to survive, but ultimately it's almost always going to be the way that you lose games. Right there, getting a rare shoot down medal, or ribbon rather, with the Kléber. It doesn't have great AA, but good enough to get the ribbon right there. And every ribbon adds up towards that in-game XP. So absolutely great to see that. So far, you see, we have a myriad of ribbons. Point captured, flooding, torpid, main battery hit, incapacitations, fires, kills, and now the plane shoot down. And this is such a great position. You see, right now he's trying to decide which ship to go for. Fortunately, right there, finishes off the mass. And go ahead, open up with the main battery, getting the high caliber medal. And at this point, this is just a beautiful ending to the game. The high alpha on the HE of this ship and the high fire chance right there, getting the fire, kill number 5, and great game, EvilDrFozzaTron. Taking a look at the scoreboard here, a truly phenomenal effort. First place on the team, great all-around damage, covering a lot of ground, over 3,300 base XP, and great game. Well, that's all we have for today. If this is your first time coming to the channel, consider hitting subscribe. Any questions or concerns, leave them below in the comments. Be happy to answer any of them. We'll see you next time.